Heartbeats in the Rain. Chapter 1. The Collision. The rain started as a gentle patter against the asphalt, its rhythmic tapping easing the tension that hung in the air. Emma Keller, a dedicated ambulance driver, was navigating the familiar streets of Willow Creek. The city was quiet tonight, the usual chatter of busy life hushed under the dark clouds overhead. As she parked the ambulance near a diner for a late-night coffee, a nearby collision snapped her back to reality. Her heart raced as she threw open the door, instinct telling her there was no time to waste. Flashing lights filled the street, and Emma could see the scene unfolding as she approached. A wrecked car crumpled against a lamppost, smoke spiraling ominously into the skyline. She could already hear the distant wailing of other sirens. The dull ache of dread settled in her stomach as she spotted a small figure huddled on the ground, a child, no older than 6, covered in the shadow of tragedy. Before she reached the child, she noticed him. John Murphy, a police officer with a reputation for bravery and compassion, crouched down beside the little girl, trying to calm her sobs. His strong hands were gentle as he wiped away her tears, his dark hair slick with rain. A warmth spread through Emma as she watched him in action, a protector, a friend in the midst of disaster. "Hey, sweet pea, can you hear me?" John spoke softly, his voice like a soothing balm. The girl nodded, her big blue eyes wide with fear. Emma approached the pair with determination. "We need to stabilize her before she's taken to the hospital," she said. John glanced up, and their eyes met for the briefest second. In that moment, everything else faded, the chaos, the sirens, the rain. There was only the fleeting connection, an unspoken understanding between two souls chasing the same purpose. "Right. I'll keep her calm," he replied, shifting his focus back to the child. Emma quickly assessed the girl's condition, treating her wounds with practiced precision, while John kept her mind occupied with stories of heroic police officers saving the day. As they worked together, Emma found herself stealing glances at John. He was focused, muscles tensed with determination, but beneath the urgency, there was a kindness that lit up his face. She couldn't help but admire him, drawn to the way he dedicated himself to protecting others. Once the child was stabilized, Emma carefully loaded her into the ambulance, her heart swelling with hope as the tiny girl clutched the teddy bear she'd saved from the wreck. "Can you go with her?" "She needs a friend," John urged as he leaned into the vehicle. "Of course," Emma replied, surprised at the sudden swell of emotions. "What's her name?" "Lila. She just lost her parents." The lost echoed in Emma's heart, prompting memories of her own parents' fragility. She understood too well the loss that the child faced. "We'll take care of her, John," she promised, her voice firm. "I won't let her be alone." John nodded, gratitude shining in his eyes. "Thank you." As they drove to the hospital, the sirens blaring and the city lights flashing by, Emma felt a strange pulse between them, a mixture of compassion and unspoken words. Chapter 2. Connections. The hospital was a flurry of activity when they arrived. Emma swiftly transferred Lila into the care of a nurse, casting a glance back at John, who had parked outside. There he stood, shoulders heavy with the weight of the world but resolute in his duty. He caught her eye, and she felt her pulse quicken. "Hey," she called, catching him before he could turn away. "Are you okay?" "Just doing my job," he said with a wry smile, but his eyes were still troubled. "How's the girl?" "She's strong. We'll know more soon." Emma hesitated, feeling a need to reach across the gap that had formed between them. "I know this is hard. I can't imagine what you're feeling." John studied her for a moment, a hint of vulnerability slipping through his stoic exterior. "You lose a part of yourself every time you witness something like this." Together, they stepped into the waiting area, filled with nervous families and anxious faces. Emma felt drawn to his words. The weight of their shared experiences hung in the air, bonding them in silent understanding. As the hours passed, Lila underwent examination while Emma and John remained by her side. They exchanged stories about their work, their dreams, and the families they had almost lost. John revealed he had a sister he hadn't seen in years, while Emma spoke of her childhood in a small town and her journey into emergency services. They agreed to check on Lila together, and as they entered her room, the atmosphere shifted. Lila, now wrapped in a blanket, looked up at the two adults. "Are you my superheroes?" she asked, her voice a mere whisper. John knelt beside her bed. "We're here to help you. You're going to be okay, Lila. We promise." Emma beamed at John's warmth towards the child. "And superheroes need a team," she added, taking Lila's small hand in hers. "You're part of our team now." Lila smiled faintly, and in that moment, Emma felt something shift within her. Her heart, once guarded, began to open, allowing the possibility of connection not just with Lila, but with John too. Chapter 3: Unraveling Threads. Over the coming weeks, Emma and John found themselves drawn together more than ever. They spent time with Lila, who had been placed in temporary foster care. Their daily visits filled the young girl's life with laughter, joy, and much-needed stability. Yet looming in the background was the constant reminder of her loss. Amidst this whirlwind, Emma and John's connection deepened. They shared coffee breaks, confided in each other, and found solace in the shared burdens of their responsibilities. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, they found themselves alone on a park bench, beneath the delicate glow of soft lights strung between the trees overhead. "You know, I didn't expect to feel this way about anyone again," John admitted, his voice low as he stared out into the distance. "After everything I've seen, it's hard to let anyone in." Emma's heart raced. "I know what you mean. But every time I'm with you, I feel like I can breathe." Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the world fell away. Emma felt her own barriers crumble as John leaned closer, their faces inches apart. Just as their lips were about to touch, a sudden commotion in the distance fractured the moment. The stillness shattered around them, and John withdrew, confusion flickering in his eyes. With the night abruptly broken, Emma felt a mix of frustration and disappointment, emotions swirling painfully in her chest. They had been so close. After a brief but awkward silence, they laughed it off, but the moment lingered like a ghost between them. They retreated to their routine, but Emma sensed a shift. The air grew thick with tension, the unresolved feelings hanging heavily over them. Chapter 4: A Twist of Fate. One evening, as Emma was wrapping up her shift, she received an unexpected call from a number she didn't recognize. It was John, urgent and breathless on the other end. "Emma, can you meet me at the park? Something's happened." Worry gnawed at her insides as she drove through the rain-soaked streets. When she arrived, she found John pacing in agitation. "Lila's foster parents call. There's an emergency." He ran a hand through his wet hair, anxiety coloring his features. "They can't keep her." Emma's heart sank. "What do you mean?" "She's in danger of being placed in a situation we can't control." "We must do something. Let's take her in," Emma suggested, knowing this would change everything. "We can be her temporary guardians until we find a suitable arrangement." John's eyes widened. "You'd be willing to do that?" "Absolutely. She deserves to have some stability. We can give her that together." As they hurried to the foster family's house, hope surged between them. They were working as a team, not merely as professionals, but as companions, bonded by their desire to protect Lila. Yet chaos awaited them. When they arrived, the foster parents were anxiously packing Lila's belongings, their expressions fraught with concern. Just then, a pair of social workers entered, their faces tight and serious. "Lila cannot remain with you." The lead worker crossed her arms, looking resolute. "We have a formal process that must be followed." At that moment, John stepped forward. "She's going to be placed in a shelter after this. We know Lila. We've been with her through this whole ordeal." You have to let us take care of her. Heart pounding, Emma took John's hand, grounding them both in this unstable moment. We've made a commitment to this child. We can provide a safe environment for her. Please reconsider, she implored, her eyes pleading for understanding. The workers exchanged glances, their resolve wavering slightly before they agreed to a temporary arrangement, with the stipulation of regular monitoring. Relief surged through Emma and John. They had fought for Lila, and in doing so, they had also fought for their own connection. I would like to take a moment away from the story. If you like my short stories, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for my next storyline, please be sure to share it in the comments. Now back to the story. Chapter 5. Embracing Love. With Lila living with them temporarily, their world shifted once again. They became a family in every sense of the word, creating a home filled with laughter, love, and comfort, a stark contrast to the chaos Lila had previously known. As they navigated the challenges of fatherhood and motherhood, Emma and John began to understand the depth of their feelings for each other. One evening, as Lila settled down for bed, Emma caught John gazing out of the window, the city lights twinkling like stars. She stepped beside him, their shoulders brushing, igniting the warm spark between them. "Do you remember the night the accident happened?" she whispered, the vulnerability of their shared trauma drawing them closer. "Of course," he said, his voice soft, yet filled with intensity. "I never realized how much I needed someone until that moment. You helped me find a glimmer of hope in the darkness. And you've been my strength," Emma confessed, her cheeks flushing. "We were meant to meet in that storm." She stepped closer, heart racing as she brushed a stray hair from his forehead. In that fragile moment, John leaned in, his breath mingling with hers. "I care about you, Emma, more than I can say." Their lips finally met, igniting a wave of emotions that flooded through both of them. It was a kiss that spoke of hope, of shared loss, and the promise of new beginnings. As they pulled away, their foreheads resting together, they knew that no matter what lay ahead, they would face it as a team together. Chapter 6. New Beginnings. In the weeks that followed, they settled into a rhythm as their bond deepened. The love they had built through the tragedy felt unbreakable, and Lila flourished in their care. She sparkled with laughter, a radiant joy illuminating her face, and in turn, she brought Emma and John closer. But as the days passed, reality loomed, their situation was still temporary, and they had many hurdles ahead. Legal battles to adopt Lila, the evaluations from social services, the mounting pressure, it all weighed heavily on their hearts. One evening, as they sat at the dining table, crunching through paperwork, John sighed heavily, frustration etched into his brow. "What if they decide to move her again?" he asked, voicing the fear that had haunted them both. "We won't let that happen," Emma declared, determination radiating from her. "We'll prove that we're the right choice for her." Their resolve ignited a fire within John. "You're right. We'll fight for her." But just then, a knock at the door sent chills through their spines. Emma exchanged a worried glance with John before stepping forward to answer it. To their shock, it was a caseworker, clipboard in hand, a stern expression on her face. "May I come in?" she asked, already stepping into their home without waiting for an invitation. Emma and John exchanged glances filled with uncertainty as they welcomed her inside. "I have some news," she began, eyes scanning the room. "There's been a development in Lila's case, and we need to discuss it." The tension coiled tightly around Emma and John as the caseworker explained the situation. Lila's biological relatives had been located, and the court had ultimately decided that she would be placed with them. "No," John breathed, stepping forward. "You can't do this. She's finally found a home where she feels safe." "I understand your concerns," the caseworker replied, unwavering. "But family comes first." Emma's heart sank, the reality of loss swirling around them again. "Lila doesn't know these relatives. She's been through too much already. How can you expect her to adjust to this?" The caseworker's expression softened momentarily but never wavered. It's not our choice, it's the court's ruling. You have the right to appeal, but you must do it quickly. With the weight of a world closing in upon them, Emma and John turned to each other, fear pooling like ice in their veins. They couldn't let Lila go, not again. Chapter 7. The Fight for Love. Under the weight of sadness, they poured everything into making their case to keep Lila. Days turned into a blur as they gathered evidence in the form of letters from friends, neighbors, and medical staff, all attesting to the bond they'd formed with Lila. In the courtroom, their palms were sweaty and hearts raced as they presented their case to the judge. Testimonials flew around as words like home, safety, and love painted the picture they desperately needed to convey. As the judge pondered their situation, Emma reveled in the presence of John beside her. He had become her rock, his unwavering support giving her strength. But as the judge stood to deliver the verdict, uncertainty clawed at her heart. After much consideration and recognizing the positive impact on Lila's well-being, I am granting the request for temporary guardianship to Emma Keller and John Murphy. Lila will remain with you pending a full review of her situation. Relief erupted like a thunderstorm within Emma, but she could still see the flicker of hope in John's eyes overshadowed by lingering trepidation. Holding his hand tightly, she whispered, "We'll do this together, no matter what." Chapter 8. Beginning anew. With Lila officially part of their lives for now, they devoted themselves to creating a nurturing environment. They shared moments filled with joy, family game nights, art projects, and cuddling during movies, warmth curling around them like a protective cloak. One evening, after they tucked Lila into bed, Emma found John staring out into the moonlit night. She joined him, leaning against the door frame. "What are you thinking about?" "I can't help but worry. What if they try to take her again?" His voice was strained with concern. "Then we'll keep fighting," Emma assured, stepping closer and wrapping her arms around him. "We're a family now, and we have to be strong for Lila." John's shoulders relaxed, and he pulled her in for a hug. "Thank you for being my partner through all this. I don't think I could do it without you by my side." As they stood there, their hearts tethered to one another amidst uncertainty, Emma let the moment sink in. They had fought together, bonded through love, laughter, and purpose, discovering what it meant to protect a child like Lila. "Can I say something?" Emma hesitated, the words bubbling to the surface. "Anything," he encouraged. "I think we should talk about what this means for us, for our future." The atmosphere shifted, filled with anticipation. "I want to build a life with you, John. A real one. I want Lila to be part of that life too." His gaze softened, the sincerity in his eyes washing away her anxieties. "Me too. There's something extraordinary happening here, Emma. You've changed me." As the world hummed around them, they kissed once more, soft and lingering. They may face the storms ahead, but they were not afraid. Hope had taken root, and no matter what lay ahead, they knew love would guide them through. Chapter 9. The Journey Forward. Months passed, and with every day spent together, their bond grew stronger. Lila began to heal, the laughter returning to her life, filling the silence with joy. Emma and John became her safe harbor, pulling her up from the trauma of loss and swirling chaos. And as they navigated the complexities of Lila's case, Emma and John remained steadfast partners, determined to embrace whatever challenges came their way. They brought Lila to therapy sessions, went through educational programs, and formed connections with others who could help them advocate for her. They finally received the call they were waiting so long for. The court had scheduled a review and ruled that Lila would not be moved to her biological relatives due to a bad history and them just wanting her for her inheritance from her lost parents. Emma and John were overjoyed and tried filling Lila's days with love. Each laugh felt bittersweet, yet they poured their hearts into making memories, picnics, a day at the zoo, and endless movie nights wrapped in blankets in front of the TV. Emma and John gathered her for a surprise. "We wanted to celebrate you," Emma said, her voice stuttering with emotion. "You are brave and strong, and we're so proud of you." Lila's eyes widened, a smile breaking across her lips. They took her to the park where colorful balloons danced in the breeze, and a picnic spread awaited them. Food, games, and laughter filled the air, and the memories they created enveloped them like a warm hug. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, Emma felt tears prick the corners of her eyes. She turned to John, and together, they embraced Lila tightly. "I will always love you no matter what," Lila whispered, her tiny arms wrapping around them both. "You're my superheroes." As they watched the sunset, Emma realized love is not only about possession, it's about memories shared and lives touched. Lila would always hold a piece of their hearts, and they would strive to be the heroes she needed. Chapter 10. A New Chapter. Emma and John both remained resolute in their promise to support Lila. John knelt beside her, placing his hands gently on her shoulders. "We're always here for you, Lila, no matter what happens." With tears spilling over, Lila nodded. Holding her close, Emma whispered, "You're so brave. We'll always be part of your story, and remember, families are not just about blood. We're here no matter what. Promise." Lila's eyes met theirs, a glimmer of hope, their hearts intertwined. "Promise," they said in unison. Emma and John, knowing they had been advocates and champions in Lila's life, giving her a chance to fly. Emma and John found hope blossoming anew, a love fortified through adversity and shared experiences. Their relationship grew, entwined with Lila. One evening, as they strolled through the park, fingers entwined, John paused, a playful yet serious look in his eyes. "What if we made this official? If we were to expand our family?" His voice trailed off, eyes sparkling with emotion. Emma's heart fluttered, her breath catching in her throat. "Are you?" "Let's adopt," he said, a grin breaking across his face. Hope ignited within Emma's chest, filling every corner of her being. "Yes! Yes! A million times yes!" she exclaimed. With laughter echoing through the air, they wrapped their arms around each other, holding tight to their love, their shared purpose illuminated by the promise of new beginnings, a testament that life continues, intertwined with love that heals, protects, and flourishes. The rain may have brought them together, but it had also taught them the depths of love, loss, and the immeasurable power of family forged through connection. Emma, John, and Lila were ready to write a new chapter, hand in hand, their hearts forever embracing the echoes of laughter they built. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe for more